Introduction. Research question. How does DBT skill training address anger in young men with combative related PTSD in juvenile detention center? Topic. DBT skill training to address anger in young men with combative related PTSD in juvenile detention. The specific research question is how does dialectical behavioral therapy, DBT skills training address anger in young men with combative related PTSD in juvenile detention center. The general research topic is a trauma-informed intervention for an at-risk adolescent with post-traumatic stress disorder in juvenile facilities. Focus on emotional regulation. It is narrowed to DBT skill training to address anger in young men with combative related PTSD in juvenile detention center. Importance of topic research and question. They range out with the career of supporting youth with PTSD. They examine practicality of the intervention. They show coping strategies taught in DBT. The research question and topic are important because they range out with the career of supporting youth with PTSD in juvenile detention facilities. Many young people in detention center experience severe trauma and emotional dysregulations, which results in conflicts and aggressive outbursts. Research examined DBT skill training as an intervention to address anger and practical because it explores the practical of intervention. It is vital to explore specific outcomes from DBT skills training to understand how it manage anger among youth. For instance, this intervention is effective if youth individuals show the decrease in intensity or frequency of their anger-related outbursts. Additionally, the examination can relate to coping strategies taught by NDBT, such as distress, tolerance, and mindfulness. Observing these changes through behavioral observation can improve DBT effect on managing anger. Evaluation of published research studies on the topic. Holland's 2021 article is a published source that informs the research. It supports the explorations of utilizing DBT skill training. It provides practical base for DBT skill training. Holland's article is published the source that informs, builds the research. It finds the dialectical behavior therapy skills will improve the mental health outcomes of individuals with mental health issues. This source supports exploitation of utilizing DBT skill training to manage anger. It proves DBT has G success in eradicating negative behavior. It also provides practical basis for looking at how DBT skill training addresses anger and other behavioral problems. This implies the article established suitable DBT innovation that handle the needs of young people struggling with trauma and anger. Evaluation of published research studies on the topic. Theodore Registry 2023 article is another source utilizing research. It finds that traumatic incidents cause neuropsychological changes. It reveals that trauma impacts key brain regions like the amygdala, prefrontal cortex, and hippocampus. Theodore T. Theodore Rail 2012 2023 article is another source utilized in the research. It finds that traumatic incidents cause neuropsychological changes with major consequences on behavioral cognitive, and emotional function. It reveals that trauma impacts key brain regions like the amygdala, the prefrontal cortex, impairing memory and triggering emotional disturbance. The source builds the research because it demonstrates how exposure to war-related trauma relates in structural change and emotional process, executive function. This article teaches DBT intervention effectiveness in identifying and managing anger. This means that the source has useful information related to the research question and topic. Research approach and design. The research approach mixes quantitative and qualitative techniques. The research designs indicate experimental designs with a randomized controlled trial, RCT. The design entails picking samples of young people. Research will embrace mixed methods approach. This implies mixed quantitative and qualitative techniques to explore DBT effectiveness. The quantitative part will measure changes in anger through standardized assessments, while qualitative segments will give information concerning participant experience. Furthermore, the research design will include any experimental design that with the randomized controlled trial, RCT. It will entail picking the sample of young people with diagnosed war-related PTSD in juvenile detention center, randomly assigning them to the DBT skill training group. The DBT skill training group will obtain structured DBT sessions over a specific time, like 12 weeks, concentrating on the skills such as distress tolerance, emotional regulation, and mindfulness. Rational design choices. A mixed method approach will facilitate a thorough investigation. Quantitative data will give objective evidence of changes in anger. Qualitative data will provide information about how and why RCT design will establish causes by managing confining variables. A mixed method approach will facilitate a thorough investigation of DBT outcomes by integrating numerical data with in-depth personal accounts. Quantitative data will give objective evidence of change in anger, while qualitative data will provide information about how and why DBT is effective. Besides, the RCT design will establish causes by managing confounding variables, rapidly assigning individual to individual will also guarantee that any observed effect will be attributed to the DBT skill training rather than other elements. Ethical standards. Research will abide by ethical standards. It will obtain informed consent. It will review by the institutional review board for any form of coercion. It will guarantee that findings are documented honestly. The research will abide by ethical standards to promote well-being and safeguard the, the rights of participants by obtaining explicitly and age-appropriate consent from youths and their guardians. It will also discuss the nature of study, possible risk, and benefit logically. Furthermore, it acknowledges the potential for psychological distress and anger to describe any and address traumatic experience that can worsen the system. Therefore, it embraces support mechanisms such as consulting mental health professionals. Additionally, the research will anonymize and secure data regarding participant privacy. The study will also be reviewed by any institutional review board, the ethics committee, to ensure that it all meets all ethical standards. By performing the research respectfully, it will ensure that the likely benefit outweigh any risk. Respectful conduct entails being transparent about the research objective and process. Avoid any form of cohesion and guarantee that findings are documented honestly and without bias. Conclusion. Trauma among young people with PTSD and juvenile justice center is common. It presents a serious challenge. It is important to explore interventions such as DBT skill training. It's also important to know how an intervention works. The research is useful as trauma among young people with PTSD and juvenile justice center is common and presents a serious challenge. Therefore, it is important to explore interventions such as DBT skill training to know how they address the issue among the affected individual. In addition, it is important to determine the magnitude by which an intervention helps to solve issues like those affecting at-risk youth with PTSD in juvenile detention centers. Questions and answers. Thank you.